Too much death in Hollywood, updates from Gab Chatter of the past, Ridley Scott is sour about sequels, and Pascal is terrified of Mescal.
Oh, it's time for class.
Class is in session!
Roll call! Bueller?
I'm gonna be late for class.
Bueller?
Am I hallucinating here? Just what in the hell do you think you're doing?
Late for shows.
You are mine now. You belong to me.
Did you study for the test?
No more complaining. No more Mr. Kimball to go to the bathroom. Nothing. There is no bathroom.
Hello, classmates, and welcome to another episode of Middle Class Film Class. I'm your host for today, Joseph.
I'm Peter.
And I'm Tyler.
And we have a great show for you today. Pete is back.
I'm here.
Yes, welcome back.
Yes, and welcome everyone on YouTube Live and otherwise, and of course, the OG classmates still listening in podcast land.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks for the audio only listeners, but you should really come over to YouTube. It's fun.
Yes.
Yeah, give us those views, give us those hours. It helps us,
and
it helps.
hang out in the chat. Joe Bridges in the chat, and our mysterious fan Angie.
Yeah,
you just gave us a red high five, I think.
Yeah, the default high five. We can always rely on Andy's high five.
She says hi, and then disappears into the shadows.
Yeah. But yeah, welcome back, Pete.
Yes,
specifically.
Every time I think I'm out, they pull me back in.
No, I'm not doing the whole thing.
Yeah, no.
We have a long episode.
Wait, we do?
I, just like Austin Powers after they unfreeze him after so many decades, we're expecting a long stream.
Yes.
Yes.
You know, a lot to cover.
I did like that bit.
Yeah, it was funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're off the heels of Tyler and Joseph exclusive only episode.
You guys did good.
Yeah.
The first time in middle class film class history.
That's right.
It was a big shoes to fill in terms of operating the board.
Thank you.
It's
It's a lot to do in one.
yeah, it's a lot to handle as like the stream and then also the board.
The one time that, well, we tried that at the very beginning when we first went live, because I used to sit in your chair and you sat over here. And when we did the live stream, you're like, I'll be video producer, you be audio producer. I'll run the video stream, you run the board still.
Yeah.
And we split it up and it was like, thank fucking God. Because it's a lot. And then the one week that you were gone, I did both. And we had Jack on.
Yes.
I forgot to record the audio. So I was like pulling audio from the video stream only. It was like, there's a lot of boxes to check before when we get going.
This is why we need a producer.
Producer Justice. He's downstairs right now. He's not doing anything.
Still on his jammy jam.
I know, he's playing Pokemon on his Surface tablet.
But yeah,
Like as he should.
I hope our episode was enjoyable.
I liked it. I thought it was good.
I watched it twice.
You want?
Okay. Nice. Thanks for the
But I'm
hours.
vain. So.
Yeah. Just on mute, just staring at yourself the whole time.
It was good. I liked how you guys picked shitty movies for each other to watch. That was fun.
Yeah.
We should do that again for all three of us.
I agree. And
The Wheel of Punishment doesn't get nearly enough love.
I kind of regret choosing the movie that I gave Joseph, because that one was just bad. But the one that he picked for me was funny bad.
What was it called again?
Exchange.
Yeah, that's it.
It
Exchange.
was Stephen
Exchange.
Baldwin. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Stephen
Exchange.
Baldwin, Kyle MacLachlan.
I mean, anything with Stephen Baldwin in it is almost a guaranteed stinker.
I know.
Yeah,
Short of
his
bio,
character is like he's a clone, and
he's a
like they're
clone.
called Jeffs. Like,
What the fuck?
the clones are called Jeffs. It's an acronym for something. I can't remember, but
Yeah, I can't either.
yeah, that was fun doing that. Robot Wars was the movie that I watched, and it was like a worse version of Robot Jocks.
Oh, really?
But
It didn't have any
production
robot
company.
wars
and there was like
in it.
there was a robot battle at the very end, and same producers as a Robot Jocks.
Not so much a war, but a battle.
Yeah, it's a political war as opposed to an actual physical war.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
But yeah, it was cool. It was
You were sorely missed.
Thanks.
Sorry for the broken window.
it was odd just me
okay.
and Tyler being here and you're not here. It's like going to someone's house and they're not home.
Yeah, exactly. That's okay. You guys are welcome here anytime.
But yeah.
Brianna also said it was weird.
Yeah.
She's like, these fucking guys, they just showed up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
they're-
they fought me.
Yeah, they're like, we're gonna use the kitchen. We're gonna take a bath while we're here.
Yeah, we basically made it like
We made it our home.
Our home.
For the day.
We were thinking about changing the locks.
Did you break the window, Tyler?
No, I didn't break the
Okay.
window. No,
You said sorry for the broken window. I had to.
It was because we broke in.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, got it. That window is a little wonky.
Yeah. But yeah, here we are. It's hot as fuck. But let's get into some Gab Chatter.
Find some charity, ye lad. Now's the time for Gab Chatter.
Gab Chatter movie news, movie discussions, things to talk about. Pete,
Yes.
what things do you bring? Yeah, anything from Portugal?
It's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
I didn't go to mainland Portugal. I was in Madeira, the island. The island. It's like a autonomous region of Portugal. So they operate with their own laws, their own taxes, their own everything for the most part. And you could probably hear it in my voice, but on the flight back, I went from Funchal Airport, which is where we were, Funchal, flew into Lisbon, the capital of Portugal. And then from there, like a 6.5 hour flight or 6 hour flight to, 6.5, 7, something like that, to DC. And then we were in Dulles, and I virtually waved at listener Heather, dork of all dorks, because she's in Maryland.
Yeah.
And it was like, I'm like, wow, Washington, D.C. and Maryland are right next to each other. I had no idea. I'm terrible at geography.
Yeah.
And as we were landing in D.C., I'm thinking, I think I might be getting sick. And I felt a fever coming on.
Oh, no.
And I started feeling the chills. And we had a 4.5 hour layover in Dulles.
Oh, good.
And while I was there, I prepped for a very shitty flight from Washington, D.C. to SFO. Absolutely stricken with a full-on fever.
Oh, it was a direct flight?
Well, no.
I mean, like from Washington, D.C. to SFO?
Yeah.
Wow.
No, they stopped in Ohio, and then they went over to Montana, and then back to SFO. No, it was a straight flight.
Yeah.
Straight flight from DC to SFO. But some people, like our first flight, we went from SFO to Frankfurt, Germany in one go. And that was 10.5 hours.
Yeah.
That sucked ass. But there were 3 meals on that flight.
Yeah.
On the way back, United was like, "Oh, this is domestic. You don't get shit." And he gave me a blanket. Even I'm like dying. I had to cocoon myself in a zip up hoodie that I bought at the DC airport. And I'm like, "Please, sir, can I have a blanket?" And they're like, "No,
Yeah, go fuck yourself.
no, you don't get that." Yeah, it was pretty bad. I don't recommend it.
Yeah.
But the flight besides the flight, the actual trip was great.
Nice.
Funchal, the city, fantastic. The island of Madeira, fantastic. It's like Europe's Hawaii, basically.
Okay.
Perfect weather, very hilly, luscious greenery everywhere. Great culture. Everyone there's chill as fuck.
Yeah.
It was great. So had a great time. Went for my wedding of my cousin, who's like my sister, Genevieve. Mazel tov to the new bride and groom. Genevieve Scarlett is her new name. Which
Wow.
is
Scarlet.
Which is pretty,
That sounds like a Hollywood name right there.
I know.
She's got scarlet fever.
Yeah, that's right. She's a worse fever than I had. But guess what? Her beau's name is her new husband. His first name.
Reginald.
No,
Joel?
no, it's Will Scarlet, which was
Will Scarlet.
which was Christian Slater's character's name in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Oh, yeah.
Did you tell him that?
It escaped me. I was gonna make a joke about it and say, "Hey."
That would have been great.
His mom was there too. I was gonna ask her, you fan of Costner, but
Or Christian Slater.
You fan of Costner?
But anyways, yeah, fantastic trip. Glad to be back though. And you guys did great. The stream was like at the very tail end of the wedding. I went back to my hotel room. The wedding was at a different hotel, like a big fancy old historic hotel. And I went back to my hotel to change into more comfy clothes to dance at the very end of the whole shindig.
Yeah.
And when it happened, that's how I was on the taxi cab ride back. That's when I got the notification you guys went live. I'm like, oh shit, here we go.
He had an international plan.
Yeah, no, actually, I got the notification before I left.
Oh, okay.
And then, but I was only basically able to operate on Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got into my hotel room, started changing and put you guys on, and had my headphones and stuff. And I'm like, oh, look at these guys. They got the
at that.
new layout,
Yeah, look
hanging
at
out,
us.
being all nice and everything. It was
all nice.
yeah, it was very nice. It was very pleasant.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks for holding it down.
Yeah,
Well, thanks
the-
for tuning in.
The nucleus of the show, essentially, who was the production manager
Thank you.
of the studio.
Or you could say the mitochondria.
I'm the powerhouse of the podcast. Tyler, what are you? If I'm a mitochondria, what are you? Are you a vacuole?
Yeah, or maybe like a red blood cell.
You're a red blood cell.
Very replaceable.
Okay.
maybe.
So anyways, my stories, again, happy to be back. If I hear,
good to have you.
if the listeners hear a little bit of nastiness in my voice, please excuse that. But I wanted to touch on a couple of lost Hollywood icons. A couple, maybe not as iconic as others, but deserve our respect nonetheless. So we lost a few people this week.
This week?
He's what's his character's name? Jack something from 24.
Jack
Bauer,
Bauer.
yeah.
Jack Bauer, yeah.
Yeah.
Carlo from the movie Loot is
The sniper
spinning in
from
his grave
Phone
right
Booth.
now. Is he really?
Yeah, he's the sniper
Spoiler
in
alert.
Phone Booth.
So yeah, rest in peace to those 4 legends. Some possibly legendary, more legendary than others, but nonetheless, 4 souls gone.
Yeah.
Very sad. So rest in peace.
Well, that's all very sad.
Yes.
Anyway.
It is sad. So I wanted to go give a couple of updates from old Gab Chatter stories that we've covered on the show.
Interesting.
Most recently, we talked about Megalopolis not having
Megalopolis.
Megalopolis. Yeah. Megalopolis.
Megalopolis.
There we go. Now try to say that and then Metalocalypse back to back.
Metalocalypse. Megaloc.
Yeah, you can't do it.
Megalopolis, Metalocalypse. Ooh, got it. But yeah, so
Met a lot of lips.
we talked about how it didn't have a distributor, and it was this like
Yeah.
Just
$200 million movie that
It's just-
Coppola self-financed that no one wanted to pick up.
It's just out there.
Yeah, we talked about it on the episode with John and Eric as fill-in hosts. And they were both kind of reveling in the fact for some reason.
Oh yeah,
because
I remember them talking like fuck Francis.
Coppola's like, they're like,
Coppola.
yeah, fuck Coppola.
And they don't like
and
it.
The Godfather.
Yeah, they don't like Godfather.
Yeah, for some reason. Well, update. It has a Lionsgate has been picked it up for distribution. And it'll be released on September 27th by Lionsgate
This year?
of this year. Yeah.
I mean, I guess if it's already done. Like,
Yeah. All you got to do is put it in theaters. Just find a release date and put it in theaters, and that'll be it. So look for that in theaters in September, or maybe we'll do a field trip for it.
Maybe.
We'll see this ridiculous Fakakta movie. All right, so that's a quick update on that. Second update, we talked about the Hellboy sequel that's coming out called Hellboy: The Crooked Man.
Oh yes.
oh, yeah.
Remember that a while ago? We were
That
like,
was a
Crooked
long
Man.
time
I
ago.
don't remember that.
That was a long time ago.
It was just a really weird, like a small story we did, and we're like, The Crooked Man sounds like a horror movie.
Yeah.
right.
Well, the trailer,
Like the Bye Bye Man.
yeah, or the Slender Man, or the Hollow Man.
The Lawnmower Man.
Yeah, exactly. Or the Candy Man.
Oh God.
But apparently, so the trailer dropped, and it looks like a horror. It's basically set up like a horror movie.
Yes.
And it's written by the original creator, Mike Mignola, the original creator of Hellboy.
The comic book.
The comic book, the graphic novel book, whatever. And he basically, it's set in rural Appalachia. So it's basically like a
Appalachia.
it's like a backcountry
moonshining.
cousin fucking mystery to be solved.
Wonderful Whites of West Virginia.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
And-
a fun documentary.
And there's a small community that's haunted by witches. And
I guess there's a witch in the David Harbour Hellboy.
yeah, it's haunted by witches. And there's a local devil with a troubling connection to Hellboy's past.
Local devil.
The Crooked Man.
Yeah.
So I watched the trailer and it looks like pretty low budget.
Yeah, it does.
I didn't watch the trailer. I thought it was like a series or something, but I saw the picture of Hellboy and like how they massacred my boy.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was being written by the creator of Hellboy, but I did know that the story is based off of like an actual.
It's a story arc from the comic. Yeah. So I read it. Some like people were talking like speculatory shit, like preemptive shit about the movie.
Yeah.
And then in the comments, people who actually read the comics were like, "No, this is a great storyline." It's like,
No, yeah, you don't get it.
yeah,
It's actually,
just give it a second.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm all for it. I mean, what worse can it do than what was that one Hellboy?
The 2019 with David Harbour.
Yes, that one. That one.
It's not terrible.
I didn't like it.
Did you watch it?
I still haven't seen
watched
it.
When did you watch it?
I think I watched it.
I think you commented on it when you were streaming pick.
I didn't particularly like it, but
Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet. I heard it's like there's some good parts and some really shitty parts, but
Yes.
my favorite thing to come out of this whole new Hellboy is the picture of new Hellboy. He's like skinny and he's not as bright. It's like the saturation's turned down.
Yeah.
And someone posted that picture with a picture of Steve Carell from Anchorman when the woman sits in as the anchor, and he looks over and goes, "You're not Ron."
Oh, I see. You're not Ron.
You'll never be Ron Perlman.
I know that's the standard.
Yeah.
That's the standard, unless they find someone else.
Yeah. So that's a new quick update on that. And then lastly, we talked about how Redbox was sold as in whole to Chicken Soup for the Soul Enterprises. Remember that?
I saw this,
Yes.
yeah.
We talked about that a long time ago on the
What
show.
a crazy name for a company.
It's like a Christian sort of values-based entertainment, middle America, Bible Belt bullshit. And surprising, Redbox is now filing for bankruptcy after repeatedly missing payments and payroll. The company hasn't paid their employees in multiple weeks and owes money to almost everyone in Hollywood, racking up about $970 million in debt to date.
Yeah, I read that.
970. At what point do you stop lending money to Redbox?
Yeah.
Who lends money to Redbox?
If I wasn't getting paid, like I would just leave. I'd be like,
What do
"No."
Redbox employees do? Exactly.
They're the guys that are filling the machine.
Is that the only job?
There's dozens of them.
Yeah.
I assume there's like some sort of movie curator and movie licensing involved.
It's the guy from Blade, Pearl, the big fat vampire. He's just watching movies all day. It's like, that one goes in the box. That one goes to Tennessee.
This one goes in the Walgreens.
Yeah. Walgreens on Laguna.
I used to use Redbox quite a bit.
Yeah, me too.
Like back in like 2013.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the I used it more for video games.
Yeah. It was really.
Once Blockbuster went away.
I
forgot
remember
about that game.
I remember it being super popular. It was like on every Walgreen storefront and 7-Eleven, what have you.
Yeah.
And now I see them once in a while. I'm like, what a relic.
I know. There's one still at the CVS down the street from here.
Yeah.
Bleached out. It's like a pink box now.
It's all faded and everything.
It's not red much anymore. So
Yeah.
anyways, those are my news stories.
Cool. Tyler, what news stories do you have?
I'm the author. Ridley Scott opens up about losing control of Alien and Blade Runner franchises.
Oh.
So Ridley Scott, he did an interview with Vanity Fair, and he goes on to say, I was slow. This is him like complaining that he doesn't have as much creative control over the Alien and Blade Runner franchises. Even though is it a franchise for Blade Runner? I thought there was only like 2 movies. Is there like a series maybe that I don't know about?
There's only 2 movies.
Yeah, there's just 2 movies.
They are making a 3rd movie.
They are.
Yeah.
Huh.
And
There's to me.
There's a series of shorts.
I don't know if maybe after the first movie, once it's a sequel, maybe it's a franchise.
Yeah, what makes a franchise a franchise? How many movies does that
I don't know.
need?
So he goes on to say to Vanity Fair, I was slow out the starting gate. I mean, I should have done the sequels to Alien and to Blade Runner. You change over the years. At that time, I didn't want to go through it again. So oh my God, he calls James Cameron Jim. He says, I love this. I forgot he said this. So he says, so Jim Cameron came in and then David Fincher on Alien. I was regretful I didn't do Blade Runner 2049, although Denis Villeneuve did a good job.
What's his name?
Denis Villeneuve.
Hi, my name is Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah, pretty close.
You
You got to put that French on it.
He said he did a good job though. And then he says, I'm the author of 2 franchises. Most directors in Hollywood, certainly, let's say at my level, don't let that stuff go. Pretentious ass.
Oh my God.
I love Ridley Scott. He's such a dickhead.
Are you mental?
He's like the Werner Herzog of American cinema.
Even though he's British.
Yeah. Oh, is he British?
Yeah.
Oh, is Sir Ridley? Is he Sir
Oh
Ridley
yeah,
Scott?
I think it is Sir Ridley Scott. Okay, well,
I don't know. Every time I hear an interview with him, he just sounds like he's cussing in American.
but
Excuse me, sir. Fuck you.
Yeah.
he goes on.
Oi, fuck off.
He goes on saying, but I did Alien as my second movie, so I didn't have much choice.
He is knighted.
And Blade Runner was my third movie, so I had no choice because I had very tough partners. It was kind of welcome to Hollywood. I was never told or asked. You can imagine I wasn't happy. Okay, so let's break this down.
This man
here
is
really
86
quick.
years old.
So I love the idea that he calls him Jim Cameron. That's such a power move.
Why? That's what he goes by. He goes by Jim.
I've heard that before, Jim Cameron.
Yeah, people that work with Anthony Hopkins call him Tony.
Is that right?
Yeah, he goes by Tony.
I didn't know that was a commonplace thing because I always thought it was everyone referred to him as James Cameron.
That's his like
Director, professional
his,
name.
what's his,
But people call him
Stage
Jim?
name?
Yeah.
Wow.
We call him Jim on the show because we're pals.
I just like the idea, like in his interview, he's like, "Oh yeah, Jim Cameron." Like,
We should start calling him Ridley Rid.
Yeah.
I know what's a Rid.
I'm gonna call him Lee.
Actually, you know what? I think that would probably be a good like short name for Ridley Scott. Lee Scott.
Lee Scott. Ooh, that's good. That sounds good. Actually.
Lee Scott Fitzgerald.
I like that.
But it's just like he gave up the reins, and he even says in the interview, "I was slow to start. I was slow out the starting gate, I should say."
Yeah,
and so
you don't have the pull. It's like if that's his first movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What?
Alien.
Oh, yeah.
I think.
Was he said it was his first movie or second movie?
He said it was his second movie.
Alien.
So imagine Alien's your second movie, and yes, I'm sure it was well received then and all this kind of stuff.
It was, yeah.
But still, it's not like you can be like, "This is my movie." It was still like he was the director, but he didn't write it,
right?
And he didn't produce it. I'm sure he had the studio as the main backers.
I mean, he had a huge hand in it.
Yeah, the director. I mean, you have the vision of it.
I mean, he got H.R. Geiger to tag along the movie.
Yeah, I don't know if H.R. Geiger was like well known back then or anything.
He did before Alien. He did the Duelists. The Duelists.
Interesting.
Like dual lists, but one word.
And then he did Duel later, which was underrated.
So I think like
one of my favorites of that year.
I think the point like that I want to, and I agree with you, Pete. Like just because like he gave up the reins, like he didn't. It's not.
I'm just saying. I don't think it was really his choice.
Like you think he was strong armed into getting rid of his?
I don't even think they called him.
Was there even plans?
They didn't call.
No,
I don't think there was plans to even at the time even like make a franchise, Aliens sequel or Alien sequel.
I mean, what I got from that interview, or like the short excerpt of that interview, is like, he's a little bit jealous. He's a little jealous that he has.
It would have been a different movie.
It would have. I mean, like I'm not, and that's not to knock on his like directing abilities. He did the Last Duel, which was good.
Yeah,
he did the Duelists. Yeah, and then the Last Duel.
Yeah, and then of course he did Alien and Blade Runner. Like he's definitely a front runner as far as making iconic cinema. But like to like, you know, stomping your feet saying I should be involved in every single project that has the word alien and the word Blade or the words Blade Runner in it.
He had he came back with Prometheus and Alien Covenant.
Yeah. And Covenant. Yeah, that's right.
Angry Otter is in the chat.
Angry Otter.
What's up, buddy?
Welcome back.
Yeah.
So I think he's just acting like a petulant child, like to think that he is owed.
Live in the now.
I think he's doing exactly what he's supposed to do as an 86-year-old man.
He's
being a grumpy old man.
Being an old bitch.
He's just directing movie after movie now. You got Last Duel, House of Gucci, Napoleon, and Gladiator 2 now coming out later this year. So it's not like he's not making stuff.
You need to mind your tone, Napoleon.
I think he just holds those two franchises very dear to his heart, and so when he sees other people doing it
2049 would not have been as good.
No,
if he directed it.
That's the funny thing is that like Jim Cameron made a completely different Jimmy
Cameron,
Jimmy C. He made a completely different movie than Lee Scott's movie.
Yeah,
but
Lee Scott.
But it was nickname all these directors.
But it was still like just a banger. I mean, Joseph doesn't like it, but everybody else agrees.
What?
Aliens?
Oh, I like it. It's just not as good as
the first one.
Yeah.
I thought you said it was a 2.5 star movie.
No.
Okay.
But I think it kind of illustrates the inner workings of Hollywood. Like you can create something iconic and then they will like rip the rug right from you and say, yeah, you know what? You made something great. Now we're going to work with it.
I'm going to go somewhere else now.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I'll just say this. The Kid Detective, it's a movie I love, 2020. Talked about it a number of times on the show. I watched it on the plane going there because we downloaded a bunch of movies.
To Portugal?
Yeah. I asked my mom, I was like, what do you want to watch? Because it was just me and my mom traveling together.
My mom.
Me and my mommy. And I said, what do you want to watch? Because she's one of the people that gave me my love for movies. And I was like, what do you want to watch on the flight over there?
Let's watch Hereditary 3 times.
I asked her if she still likes the movie. She goes, I fucking love it. It's my favorite horror movie now.
Wow.
But I asked her, what kind of movies do you want to watch? And she goes, I'm so out of date with like new good movies. So just download some good new movies that you know I'll like.
Okay.
And
you know that she will like?
Yeah, that I know her taste.
Do you have a good
I have a good barometer of what her taste is.
Okay.
And so we watched, on the way there, we watched The Northman.
Nice.
She loved it. She's like, Alexander Skarsgård was like a fucking monster, which is true. And then we watched The Kid Detective, and like 5 minutes in, she's like, I don't think I'm gonna like this. And then by the end, she's like, this is amazing, great movie. And then we watched Unicorn Wars.
How did you? These weren't movies the plane offered.
No.
Oh, okay.
I prepped them ahead of time.
I was like, what? Unicorn Wars on the plane?
I had them pre-streamed, downloaded or whatever onto my laptop, and I just brought my laptop and we put it on the fold down table, whatever.
Okay.
So we watched Unicorn Wars.
Wow, the library that they have.
No. And that was the risky one because there's like full on teddy bear penis number of times in that movie. There's like psychedelic, like acid trip cartoon. But we watched those. She loved them all. And then on the way back, we watched doing part 1 and part 2 back to back. And she loved that as well. But why did I bring that up?
I don't know.
Oh, The Kid Detective. So you're talking about the being ripped out, this project ripped out from you. So Evan Morgan is the writer and director of The Kid Detective, and Adrian Brody, not Adrian Brody, something Brody. Who's the guy that stars in that movie?
Oh,
from the OC. Adam Brody.
Adam Brody. Yeah.
Adam Brody was the producer as well. Once he got onto the movie, he ended up paying for a part of it, and those two are in control of that movie. No one's going to come into that and say, we're going to make Kid Detective 2 and you're going to be cut out of it, because he wrote and directed, and it's like his love child. Ridley Scott directed the movie, but it's not like he brought the whole story to them, looked for financing, made it from his passion project. He was hired to do this project for the studio.
Yeah.
Also, Blade Runner is a book, so it's not like he's the author of his version of the book. But
what's the book called? Androids.
Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep?
Yeah.
Philip K. Dick.
PKD.
Oh, PKD.
Fahrenheit 451. Also, he wrote that.
No, that's Ray Bradbury.
Yeah.
Well, close enough. Oh, actually, funny enough, Bradbury in the movie, the original Blade Runner movie, the hotel at the end of the movie, is the Bradbury Hotel.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
All right. I guess it is close enough.
Yeah. Science fiction writer.
But anyway,
contemporaries.
So anyways, you were saying that Adam Brody.
I'm just saying, that's all I need to say is like Evan Morgan wrote and directed that movie. They're not going to take that away from him. That's his property. It's his intellectual property.
So it was self-funded? It wasn't like funded by a studio?
I'm sure it was, but it's still his intellectual property.
And
so it was like director, in his contract?
If a director is hired, if he wrote the movie and he directed the movie, he owns like the idea, the intellectual property of the movie.
Right.
If somebody else wrote the movie for a studio and the studio funded everything and then hired a director, Ridley Scott, to make this movie, it's like he may have been like the captain of the ship, but he doesn't own the property.
He doesn't own the ship.
Yeah, he doesn't own the ship.
Okay.
It's a loaner ship.
Yeah.
Because from my
lift.
From my understanding is if you're a creator that goes into a studio and you present this idea, like you pitch your script essentially, and they say, okay, we're going to give you $60 million to make this movie. From my understanding is that because the studio gave you $60 million to make this movie, it's their movie, regardless of whether or not they came up with it. Is that
for the most part?
Yeah.
And that's for the writer, because for the ownership of that IP, because no matter what, too, like one of the reasons why Garland became a director was because he was tired of the studios taking his written scripts and taking out the important parts.
Okay. So I'm seeing the difference now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they'll just be scripts that studios have. They're like, we want to make a movie out of this, but we don't have a director. So like they'll try to find directors like, do you want to direct this? Do you want to direct this? And then until someone's interested in directing it.
I see.
Which is always something, I don't know why it perplexes me or dumbfounds me every time I hear it. I hear a director saying like, so this script was written like 10 years ago and it's being made now. And I'm like, oh, so you weren't from the beginning part of the writing stage of this story. You're just picking up someone else's writing and turning it into
a lot of times
movie.
When they have like 3 writers on a credit, it's like the one person wrote the initial script and then 2 people punched it up and changed it.
Yeah.
And then every once in a while you'll hear this writer asked for his name to be removed because it was changed so much from his original script that he didn't even want his name attached to it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think that's the part about movie making that the casual viewer might not even think about is like, you go in, if you're like a screenwriter and you're trying to make it into Hollywood and you're like, great, I optioned my script. I got paid for it. They're going to make a movie from it. And then you watch the final product and you're like, that's not, that wasn't what I wrote.
Yeah.
That's nothing like what I wrote because it gets bastardized. The bones of the story are what they bought.
And that's why Garland went into directing because he wanted to direct his own, he wanted to achieve his own vision that he imagined.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
but God bless Ridley Scott. That old bastard.
I mean,
give me my movie back.
Well, you know, I gotta wonder, like, how does he keep himself alive? Like, he's so old.
Pure hate.
It's just the hate that keeps him alive, like Darth Sidious
and Dr. Pepper every morning.
Yeah, he keeps moving. He keeps making movies. The first year he doesn't make a movie, he's gone.
Yeah, the first. Oh man, yeah.
If I don't move, I die.
He's like a shark.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, anyways, that's. Actually, I did want to. I did want to bring. I did want to bring up something really quickly because I know we were going on. So I've been watching a lot of Batman the Animated Series from 1992.
Right.
Amazon's coming out with a new Batman the Animated Series called Batman the Caped Crusader. And it's going to be animated in like the style of the Batman the Animated Series, which I think is arguably the best form of media that presents Batman.
Okay,
I love that series.
Yeah, so I just wanted to put that out.
It was like that and Gargoyles.
Yeah,
at the same time.
Gargoyles.
Loved Gargoyles.
I remember watching it. I don't remember really anything about it though.
It's cool. Anyways, I'm done.
It's cool.
It's cool.
Check that out this September.
All right, cool.
Okay, that's it.
Yes.
Megalopolis and
Batman the Caped Crusader.
Caped Crusader.
Okay, my turn. Kind of in the Ridley Scott realm still, but focused on the Gladiator 2 production, which has, I assume, wrapped at this point, and now they're like approaching the end of their post-production because it's releasing in November, I think.
Yeah, that got to be then.
It's releasing actually on the same day that the new Wicked movie is releasing, so we have a
counter programming.
Yeah, it's this year's Barbenheimer, I guess.
Hell yeah!
So this is in regards to the fight scenes between Paul Mescal and Pedro Pascal. And Paul Mescal is the main character in this story of Gladiator 2. His character's name is Lucius. And
Lucius?
Lucius
is the young boy from the first Gladiator. No,
he's Joaquin's son, right?
No, I think it's his nephew.
That's right. And he's like Joaquin's trying to get with his sister or something.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy Romans.
Yeah. And this is from Pedro Pascal, quote, "I'd rather be thrown from a building than fight Paul Mescal again after Gladiator 2 production."
Oh my God.
I didn't know they're actually fighting.
So Pascal.
You think they did it on purpose? Just to fuck with us?
They call him PP for short. Pedro Pascal told Vanity Fair that Mescal's transformation into muscle-bound Lucius for the Gladiator 2 was a little bit more daunting than when it came to stunts. He got so strong, I would rather be thrown from a building than have to fight him again. to go up against somebody that fit and that talented and that much younger, it's brutal. I call him Brick Wall Paul.
Brick Wall Paul. That's a cool ass name.
Yeah. Yet Pascal credited Mescal's performance for why he also endured the brutal scenes. Mescal told Vanity Fair that he was determined to look like a true warrior for the Roman Empire epic sequel. I just wanted to be big and strong and look like somebody who can cause a bit of damage when shit hits the fan. I think also sometimes one could, in striving for that perfect look, end up looking more like an underwear model than a warrior. Muscles start to grow, and that can be deemed aesthetic in certain capacities, but there is something about feeling strong in your body that elicits just a different feeling. You carry yourself differently. It has an impact on you psychologically in a way that is useful for the film. You feel like you have a presence, I guess, when you're that buff and that ripped.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a character that is a gladiator. With films like this and superhero films, there's sometimes a focus on that, which I don't find that interesting. Of course, there's a physical robustness required for the character, but past that, I'm not interested. This guy's got to fight and got to be a beast, and whatever that looks and feels like is right for me is what it's going to be. Sometimes I see films and I'm like, that person doesn't look real. So looking at other probably Thor type characters,
or Zac Efron from
Iron Claw. It doesn't look human.
He doesn't look real. He looks like an action figure.
He does.
Dipped in oil.
Like handsome Shrek. So yeah, I guess we're going to be getting some pretty intense combat fight gladiator scenes in Gladiator 2, which is...
it still amazes me that there's going to be a sequel to that movie.
It is strange.
And I guess it's still following this kind of this similar character, or the same character from the first one, from 24 years ago. Right?
I hope that Russell Crowe's in the sky, looking down on them.
Like Mufasa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Simba.
I remember hearing about Russell Crowe getting asked about Gladiator 2. And he's like, I don't know. I'm not in the movie. Stop asking me.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, fuck off, dude.
I know. So the images came out of...
I think it looks good.
From the movie, some stills from the movie. And it looks pretty good. It looks pretty gritty. I was curious about the cast because Denzel Washington, Pedro Pascal, Paul Mescal, and some other people. And I was curious as to the roles that they would play and how it would look. But it looks pretty gritty, pretty intense.
It looks good.
And Gladiator, the first Gladiator, has such a cool look to it. It's a really epic, just looking Roman movie. It's just fun to watch and fun to look at. And but it's also filled with really great performances.
We haven't had a Roman movie in a while.
I guess we're kind of getting another one with Megalopolis, which is based on
a modern
Roman epic set in just the future. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Gladiator 2 more than Megalopolis.
Yeah.
That's exciting, and especially hearing Pedro Pascal was scared.
I heard a quote from Paul Mescal that said, "I'm going to get buff, but I don't want to become a sex symbol."
Yeah.
Which is always funny when people decide to start going to the gym. They're like, I want to get buff, but not too buff, you know?
I don't want to get beefy.
You're
buff.
let's have that conversation with yourself after 3 months.
Yeah, first of all,
first day.
Get to the first stage of being buff.
You're buying clothes to go to the gym. You're like, I don't want to get too buff.
What if I get huge?
I know.
What if I get huge in 2 weeks? These clothes aren't going to fit me. It's like buying clothes for an infant.
Yeah.
They're going to grow out of it really quickly. But yeah, so Brick Wall Paul.
Brick Wall, great name.
Some ferocity in his performance.
Yeah, great name.
So I've only seen him in After Sun, and that was a very not a Roman epic movie. So
yeah, it's a strange
trajectory.
Yeah, it's a strange trajectory.
He went from doing Normal People, that show about love, I guess, or breakups and stuff.
Ordinary People
or Normal People?
I don't know.
To After Sun, an A24 drama movie, to now this epic.
He's a great actor. I like him.
Yeah, he's good. So we have that to look forward to. But yeah, I don't have anything else. That's it for Gab and Chatter. Let's get into some stream picks.
Movies.
Wanna watch a movie?
Yes, I do. Disney Plus. Oh, HBO Max.
If I don't get the pick, show's over.
I have grown accustomed to Hulu Plus.
Amazon Prime.
I like Netflix.
You found the pick.
Stream picks, movies from that we watch on our streaming services so that you can watch or not watch them as well. Pete?
All right, let's see what we got. I did not watch...
Streaming on United Airlines.
Yeah, United Airlines. You know what's really funny is we watched, when we were watching Dune, we settled in, we got on my laptop, completely disconnected from the rest of the plane.
Right.
No headphones. I actually figured out a way how
to... You used no headphones, you blasted it for everyone.
Yeah, I was just playing it on the speakers. No, I figured out a way how to get two Bluetooth headphones to be connected to the laptop at the same time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's built into a section called Audio MIDI Setup on MacBook.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. That's cool.
And it's like you create a new input and you tether both Bluetooth headphones.
That's cool.
And you have to add them both, and it's not quite as loud. It like splits the audio, dumps it down a tiny bit.
Yeah.
But anyways, we're watching Dune Part 1 on the way back, and I look over, and the guy sitting right in front of my mom's seat, I could see through the little crack. He's watching Dune Part 1 too, and he's like 1 minute behind us.
Oh, whoa.
It was crazy. I'm like, hey, look. And she stuck her head over. She's like, what the fuck?
That's funny.
Yeah, every time they made an announcement, though, they blank out the screen, so he got further and further behind us.
Oh, he was watching it on...
He was in the plane. He was watching it in the headrest. So, all right, I'm going to go, as is tradition, as I've been doing the last few weeks, worst to first.
Okay.
Worst to best. And this first one, no stinkers this week.
Okay.
But when I got home yesterday and I weathered or 2 days ago, I weathered my fever, and I decided yesterday to actually get all my clothes clean and get everything packed away and cleaned up and all that stuff and kind of hit the reset button. And I watched War Dogs on Netflix from 2016.
Oh, yeah.
See, Miles Teller, Jonah Hill movie. So this movie is streaming on Netflix. It says, based on the true story of two young men, David Packouz and Ephraim Diveroli, who won a $300 million contract from the Pentagon to arm America's allies against Afghanistan. So it's directed by Todd Phillips also, which I did not realize.
Oh, interesting.
And it's almost impossible to watch this movie and then not compare it to Lord of War with Nicolas Cage.
That's what I was thinking.
And it kind of feels like it wants to be that at certain times, and other times it wants to be like 21, that movie with...
The casino movie?
The casino movie. Like, it's very like kind of snappy and fast moving editing and this sort of stuff. But Miles Teller's character, David Packouz, he's just living in Miami, and he's like giving massages, and that's how he's making his living. And his fiance or wife or whatever is very young Ana de Armas. This is her second movie after Knock Knock, that home invasion thriller with
Keanu
Reeves.
Yeah.
And I read, and that was in 2015. This is 2016. I read in that movie, she didn't speak any English, and she just memorized her lines.
Oh, wow.
Oh, so she did the Ron Perlman thing.
Yeah, she did the Ron Perlman. But so she's in this, and long story short, he's not making a bunch of money, and his like childhood friend shows up at a funeral that they're both at, and he goes, "Oh shit, fucking Ephraim's over there." Ephraim
Winslow.
And he's like, everyone's like, yeah, he's kind of a fuck up and blah, 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 blah. And
he's kind of a war dog.
And yeah, he hooks up with him, and he's like, hey man, how you been? Blah, blah, blah. We should get some weed and, hang out. And he goes, yeah, I know a guy. So Ephraim pulls up in his BMW, and he runs out to go, buy some weed at this like trap house in this shitty neighborhood. And the guy's not home, and some dudes are sitting on the back of a car in the parking lot, and he's like, hey, well, you trying to buy some weed? He goes, yeah. He goes, well, I'll sell it to you. I sell it to him. So he comes out, and he goes, I'll get an ounce, $300. He gives him $300.
$300.
He gives him the $300 for an ounce. And he's like,
highway robbery.
The guy goes, he pretends basically like he never seen him before, and he doesn't give him the weed. He's like, where's my weed? He goes, what are you talking about? I've never seen him before in my life. And he just basically steals his money.
Just robs him.
And he goes, oh, okay, I see how it is. And this is full peak fat Jonah Hill. He's the biggest I've ever seen him in this movie.
Oh.
And he walks to the trunk of his car and pulls out like an Uzi and just...
I've seen that scene before.
Shoots it in the air, and he's like, what now? And he never gets his weed. He just throws it in the trunk of his car and drives away. And his friend's like, what the fuck are you doing? He goes, that's okay. I got a class 3 assault rifle license. Like that allows you to shoot bullets in the air. So anyways, it gives you an idea who the character is. And it's like
unhinged.
Yeah, he's unhinged. He's just a kind of power trip. And what he does is he buys money. He buys guns from seized police auctions. And then he goes on this public government, U.S. government website where they have contract bids. And he says, we don't want the whole pie. We just want the crumbs. So they leave all the big contract bids for the big arms dealers.
Yeah.
And then he takes the really small ones that no one wants and he fills those with these guns he bought for cheap off of police auctions.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that sounds like a pretty good business opportunity.
Yeah.
And they're making good money like that, but they just get bigger and bigger and bigger. And then they take these really big bids and shit goes wrong. He's selling this couple cases of Berettas to the Afghan police to force through the military. They get held up in Jordan. They have to fly to Jordan and then drive them through the triangle of death, through the desert, through Islamabad and through all these crazy places. And they get into all these shenanigans and it's it's crazy. It's fun. And it's not like the best movie, but it's entertaining. So yeah, I had fun with it. It's like a 3.5 star movie. I like Miles Teller and Jonah Hill's they're both doing great in it. And guess what? There's a falling out between them.
In real life?
I think in real life and in the movie because it's based off true story. So that's pretty fun. That's streaming on Netflix called War Dogs. Next up, rewatch. Won't spend a whole lot of time with it because it's a short movie. And if you haven't seen Kung Fury, you should go out and absolutely watch it right now. It's not, if you look on Just Watch, it's not streaming anywhere for free, but I found it on Daily Motion. So, and for free.
Wasn't it on YouTube for a while?
I don't know. Maybe
I thought it was.
Maybe it was, but it was on Netflix for a long time.
Yeah.
And but I found it on Daily Motion with ads, and it had like 2 ads, and then it didn't play anything after that. So I'll put the link in the show notes for that. This movie is bananas. It's so ridiculous, and the story of it is super fun. It's directed by David Sandberg, also starring David Sandberg as the title character, Kung Fury. It takes a cop from the future to fight an enemy from the past. During an unfortunate series of events, a friend of Kung Fury is assassinated by the most dangerous kung fu master criminal of all time, Adolf Hitler, aka Kung Führer. Kung Fury decides to travel back in time to Nazi Germany in order to kill Hitler and end the Nazi Empire once and for all. This also has Jorma Taccone in it, which I don't even know who he played. Oh, he plays Adolf Hitler. What the fuck? Oh, it does not look like Jorma.
Weird.
So this is basically like Astron 6, the guys that made Manborg and all those, Psycho Gorman and stuff. It's like their early stuff, all shot on green screen, dubbed over ADR, made on purpose to look shitty. And it's basically like an 80s neon-soaked, Miami Vice style wet dream. And it's super ridiculous. It's super fun, and it does not take itself seriously whatsoever.
Yeah.
He gets paired up with a partner named Triceracop. It's just a Triceratop face on a human body.
Nice.
At one point, and Hitler comes to the present, he takes someone's portable phone and he calls the chief of police. And then he goes, "Is this the chief of police?" He goes, "Yes." And he goes, "Fuck you." And he shoots into the phone. And the bullets start coming out the other side of the phone and killing everyone in the police station. So it's that type of movie.
Yeah.
So absolutely worth your time for Kung Fury. It's like 20 minutes, I think. It loses a little steam at the end, but it's super fun. Next up, paying off a 2-year-long debt to Michael Greaves, Joseph's brother. Delicatessen from 1991. This movie is super weird. It's directed by, it's a directing duo, actually. It's Jean-Pierre Jeunet, who did very long engagement and Amélie, and then Marc Caro, Caro. And they used to be like a duo. And I messaged Binge Lord Dan about it because that was his recommendation, a very long engagement. So who's this other guy? And apparently they were pals back in the day. And then after Alien Resurrection, they kind of split up.
Don't call me. Don't come by my house.
So this feels like, it feels like a Terry Gilliam movie. Like 100% feels like a Terry Gilliam movie.
Yeah.
It's like sepia soaked, feels like an alternate future where food is rationed and people can't get meat. They can't get barely anything. There's like everybody's basically currency is like food sort of thing. And it all takes place in an apartment building. And this guy shows up, and in a very long engagement, it's the guy who she kept going to his cottage. It was like her stepdad or step-uncle or something like that.
Yeah. That kind of odd-looking guy?
Yeah, goofy-looking dude.
Yeah, the guy from Resurrection as well. He's like in that chair.
Yeah. That's him. And he's like the main character, and he comes to this building to try to get work as like a handyman at this butcher at the Delicatessen. And the guy who runs the place is like this maniacal, super evil guy, and there's cannibalism afoot, and he's killing the tenants of the building sometimes, and it's all kind of hush hush. But it's a very limited storytelling sort of aspect because it's all set in this apartment building, and it seems to be like best paired with some like really wild. It really works with these like Gilliam-esque camera techniques.
Yeah.
Very like a lot of Dutch angles, a lot of like fisheye, a lot of in-your-face moments. And it's almost like a series of vignettes in all these different apartments. You get to know this weird-ass couple, this woman who keeps trying to kill herself in elaborate ways, but it keeps getting foiled at the very last second. Her husband walks in and supposed to like set off this Rube Goldberg device, which ends up electrocuting her in the bathtub, and it really saves her life. And then there's like these underground surface dwellers, which are like the resistance. And they're trying to like get food from the people that have to give them to the not have-nots, much like Demolition Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's super fun. It's ridiculous storytelling. It always has a very dark twist to everything. And it was really enjoyable. It was a little grotesque at times.
Oh.
And a little like kind of hard to watch because it's very like in your face and a very like hot and wet feeling, It's like a dirty, grimy sort of vibe the whole time.
Okay.
This apartment is constantly falling apart.
Yeah.
And but the villain is a very good villain. He's like the butcher that runs the whole place, and he's detestable. Detestable. He's disgusting. And I think it's his daughter is like who ends up being his love interest, the main guy's love interest. And he's a former circus performer, so he's always kind of doing tricks and kind of stuff, and they're playing music together. And there's some really like charming, delightful stuff in there. But the opening scene, like the title sequence, is really impressive just in itself. So the second the movie plays, you get this like sweeping title sequence that leads to the title of Delicatessen, and it's like a bunch of stuff, mishmash, like hodgepodge and bric-a-brac, whatever, on a table. And it's like zooming through stuff, and there's people's names spelled out on tiles and in reflective lettering and this and that, and it's like this one continuous shot. And it's all, you can tell it's all practical. It's 91, so the CGI would be very obvious. And it's really good. So I'm gonna watch City of Lost Children. I wanted to watch it on the trip, but I got like 10 minutes into it with Brianna, and she's like, nope, I'm not gonna watch it. That one's even more grotesque. There's like children burping into the camera and like a lot of like, it's very dystopian.
Interesting.
So I think that's one I'm gonna have to watch alone.
She just turned off by burping, belching.
Brianna does not. She doesn't have the ability to burp.
Oh yeah, that's right. Fun fact.
Nor should she doesn't like children.
She doesn't mind children. She doesn't want her own. So Delicatessen, it's on streaming on Hoopla if you have a library card, but I had to rent it because I do not.
Wait, library card for Hoopla?
Hoopla, that's how you sign up for Hoopla.
I thought that was Kanopy. Also Hoopla?
Both, yeah.
Oh.
They're both like that.
Interesting.
I rewatched Borat, Cultural Learnings of America for Make Benefit Glorious Nation of Kazakhstan.
Yeah.
So funny.
Yeah.
Sacha Baron Cohen is a fucking G for making that movie, and it is so offensively racist in so many ways. The entire time, his like aversion to Jews is so over. I can't believe he's face to face with the nice Jewish couple and their bed and breakfast.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so funny.
Yeah, it is. I mean, when I first watched that movie, like it's shocking to say the least.
It is, because
it's so over the top. Especially like when he's out in public and he's like talking to people. He's like, "What, women can drive?"
Yeah.
Like just like I don't even know how to explain it other than just over the top, like misogynistic, racist shit.
It's like all the stereotypes that people think about like Eastern Europe or certain parts of the world magnified like 10 times and put into one character, but he's oblivious to it. And it's almost like you can't be mad at him because that's just what they believe in that part of the world, even though it's not.
And that's what
he's just a character.
And that's what the people who were like, they unwillingly participating in this documentary, they were trying to treat him with empathy because they didn't come from his culture. Like you could see that like they weren't getting like offended. They were trying to be understanding.
He's not from there.
I know. It's funny. They're like, well, he's foreign. He doesn't know who'd be better. And it's like it's a fake guy. It's a fake character.
Yeah. So I really liked. I mean, that was kind of like the heyday, like that because Jackass was out too.
This was 06. So this was like a little after Jackass. I mean, he was still making the movies and stuff, but the show was, you know.
The show was kind of fizzled out, but like the movies,
I remember this, like the little interstitials of the interviews and stuff being longer, like 5 to 10 minutes each, but they're really only like 30 seconds to 2 minutes.
Right, yeah.
You know, rewatching it. So it lost a little bit of a pep in step compared to like, you know, the films that came after that of similar nature. But still, there's like 5 to 10 scenes that are just absolutely gut busting funny.
Yeah.
I don't know how he made the sequel without people knowing. And that was a point in the movie, wasn't it? Because people had already.
He basically had to go in as Borat in character, in a disguise.
Yeah.
And then also the main character in the movie was his daughter.
Yeah.
Was Maria Bakalova as his daughter.
Yeah.
So she was the main character, and they're basically like, go out and be Borat's daughter.
Yeah. that was a funny movie. I like that.
Yeah. But all this stuff, like when he goes to the garage sale, and he's like, pull over here. There's a gypsy made camp in front of this house. He's like, do not fear me, gypsy. I just need your tears. Cry into my bottle.
I love the Muppet.
Not wrong one. Oh, that's a Jew.
It's so ridiculous. So anyways, that's streaming on Hulu. Worth a rewatch. Don't tell me what. I don't know why I wanted to rewatch it, but I just did.
Man, I feel like watching Borat right
now. I got really over some Borat. Next one. This is a completely out of the left field movie, and it was being posted all over Twitter for the 4th of July.
Really?
Yeah, because it's called Blowout from 1981. This is Brian De Palma's, early Brian De Palma. And this is streaming on Amazon Prime, Freevee, Hoopla, the Criterion Channel, Pluto TV, Roku, and Tubi. And do you guys know anything about this movie?
No.
I know John Travolta's in it.
John Travolta's in it, yeah.
Yeah.
John Travolta, 1981, like I said, directed by Brian De Palma, also featuring Nancy Allen, John Lithgow, Dennis Franz, Peter Boyden, and John Aquino. So basically, John Travolta is a Foley guy for low-budget slasher.
He's an audio dude.
Yeah, he's an audio guy. And he's trying to find the perfect scream for this slasher movie they're making. It's this low-budget, shitty slasher movie. And then he like works above like a porno theater. So it's like real skeezy.
Yeah.
And he's out one night trying to pick up Foley, and he's like getting conversation from, he's got the shotgun mic, and he's picking up, he's on like a little bridge at a park next to a pond. And he's like recording a conversation of two people like making out on the waterfront. Yeah. And then he's recording an owl hooting away, and then he hears a blowout, a tire blowout, and he points his microphone over there, and he sees his car veer off the road and into the pond, and he sees two people inside. So he dives in and he saves the woman in the passenger seat. The guy in the driver's seat's got banged his head on the door or whatever.
He's gone for.
He's already looks like he's dead.
Yeah.
He's just like, yeah, he looks dead, and then
it shows his face, and it looks like his head was caved in.
Oh, okay.
So. Anyway, so he pulls a girl out and saves her. And then after that, it turns out he's in the center of this assassination plot. The guy that died was governor of New York.
The guy that died was the governor of New York?
Yeah, and he was like running for president.
What the fuck?
So what it was I won't give all of it away, but it's basically like the girl in the passenger seat was a hired prostitute. And they were setting him up. They're going to take pictures of them two together.
Oh, character assassination.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a character assassination, but the guy that was setting the whole thing up, John Lithgow, took a lot of liberties with it, and he's like, "We're just going to blow his tire out."
Actually assassinate.
Yeah, exactly. And it's an interesting thing because you have his Lithgow's conversation with the people who hired him, and they're like, "This is not what we agreed to," and he goes, well, I took some liberties.
I took some liberties.
He's like, you don't have to worry about the candidate anymore, right? And he's like, but we didn't want to. And he's like, well, I still got some loose ends, so I'll talk to you later.
He's the bad guy in Cliffhanger, right?
Yep, and Raising Cain, another Brian De Palma movie.
Raising Cain is just his another personality, right? Like a Jekyll and Hyde thing.
Yeah, he's got split personalities. We got an anonymous tip that he was buying babies.
Yeah.
So anyways, so Travolta's like in the thick of it.
Yeah.
That's his whole, he's in it. And he doesn't, they're basically, everyone's telling him, don't even say there was a girl in the car. You know, his family doesn't need to know that he was running around on his wife and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And he just wants to tell the truth. And he gets caught in it and he's trying to skip town, making her skip town. And it's shot really, really well. This is shot fantastically. Mm-hmm. There's so many split diopter scenes in this that really work. It's not just for the show of it. And then there's a final scene with it's because it takes place on the 4th of July, or Liberty Day in Philadelphia, not, it's a Pennsylvania, governor of Pennsylvania, not New York. And it takes place on like the finale's on the waterfront and the fireworks are going off and there's a final scene when it's his face silhouetted against the sky of these fireworks going off and it's like this 180 full pan shot, like it's a weird angle. And it's like, I don't know how they got that shot, but it's a beautiful shot. So,
okay.
Cinematographer's dream to watch this movie.
Blowout.
Yeah, 1981.
Blowout.
Great thriller.
I thought cocaine was involved somehow.
Yeah, it's a weird. Apparently, it's based off of another movie called Blow Up.
Oh,
yeah, from like the 50s.
Blow down.
Yeah. So the next one, we're gonna get blow in.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of the last like new one that I watched. I rewatched Fight Club. I won't spend any time on that, but it's streaming on where is this? Hulu as well, and it's so fucking good still.
Yeah,
it's so good. I love Fight Club. It's so good.
Yeah. What?
You love Fight Club?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Could have sworn you said it was mid.
Well, I mean,
I love mid movies.
Yeah,
Tyler loves mid movies.
Like I said, that's exactly. I think Fight Club is.
You said it was fine. That's what you said.
Yeah, it is. It is fine, but I think. I think it gets a little bit overblown. Like it's
overhyped.
Overhyped, yeah. Because I mean the story's tight. I think it's an interesting take on the whole someone's there, but you don't know if they're there. Mm-hmm. And then the twist is you can see it coming from a mile away.
When I was younger, I had no idea, but watching it as an adult, I'm like, yeah, if I were to watch this in my 30s, I would see the twist coming from 10 kilometers away.
Yeah.
But it doesn't detract from
That's
the movie
what I
at
felt
all.
about The Sixth Sense.
Really?
But watching it with someone who'd never seen it before, I'm like, it's so obvious. How do they not know? And then when the reveal came, he was like, what? It blew his mind.
I in regards to The Sixth Sense, I hate that it became like a cultural, like a pop cultural icon thing to be like, I saw a ghost or something like that.
I see dead people.
Yeah, I see dead people. Like it kind of like us as a society spoiled The Sixth Sense when it came out.
Yeah, I guess, but didn't you watch that with Joe Man recently?
Yeah, he like last year or something, and
he didn't know about the twist.
He didn't know about the twist. He'd never seen the movie before, and that's when the whole time we were watching it, I was like, how does he not know? The signs are there.
Yeah,
like they were pretty obvious signs too.
But it's hard to like put your head back into the mindset of like not knowing the twist.
Yeah,
and like their perspective of it. Because I'm like, it's obvious, but that's because I know already.
Yeah. The dinner scene where the wife is sitting at the table and like leaves and says like happy anniversary or happy birthday or whatever was like, when I rewatched it, I'm like, it's so good because it looks like
she's just ignoring him.
Yeah, exactly. Like she's pissed at him. And
it was funny because like when we were watching it, he was like, damn, bitch. He's trying to say sorry. Give him a break.
That's funny. Heather's in the chat and she says about blowout, she says it took blow up and then added Chappaquiddick. Chappaquiddick. Is that the river? We don't know.
Pennsylvania
East Coast
geography.
Stuff. Honestly, this is how stupid I am when it comes to geography, Heather. I'm looking at the plane on the little device that tells you how close you are to the East Coast as we're getting ready to land at Dulles. And I'm zooming in. I'm like, Virginia's right there? Wow, Wow, interesting.
Yeah. All those states are so close together.
I know.
Yeah.
And they're small. Anyway.
It's weird. The East Coast is a weird place.
I'll be seeing it shortly.
Yeah, you will. So anyways, yeah, Fight Club, streaming on Hulu, worth a rewatch. Super fun.
All right.
Marla, what's her name? Marla Singer.
Marla Singer.
Singer was like, I had such a weird broner for her when I was a youngster.
The Helena Bonham Carter.
I was like,
what
I
a
want
babe.
I want that crackhead energy.
Now she looks like a witch.
You want that crazy puss.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay.
Tyler. Right, you're done. That's all you had? Pete?
That's it.
Okay, cool. Tyler. How many movies did you watch? Can I count them on one hand, two hands?
1.5 movies.
All right.
1.5.
There we go.
Yeah, 1.5 movies. I'll get into the half movie that I watched after this one. So,
okay.
I mean, I'm not going to beat around the bush. Like, I had a very tough week. I have a severely sprained ankle. It's been over 100 degrees. I work outside.
I need my ankle to watch movies.
and so I think it was on Tuesday night. I just had such an awful time at work, and I came back home and it was already dark, and I plopped myself in front of my computer, and I was scrolling through HBO Max to see like I want to watch a new movie, but like my eyes were like halfway open. I was like, I don't even know if I could pay attention to a new movie right now. So where do I go to? I go to the Lighthouse.
Oh,
I hadn't seen it in a while. And so I watched The Lighthouse on HBO Max, and and I after a hard day's worth of work.
Okay.
And when I started it, it's like my comfort. It's like junk food to me, like comfort food.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always said, oh, this is like the perfect movie. I think that I can't find any flaw in it. So upon watching it this time, though, I wanted to challenge myself to see if I could find any flaws in this movie.
Where are the cracks in this movie?
And I did find one.
Oh.
And
what kind of flaw?
So Robert Eggers, he likes to be historically accurate.
Yeah.
And he draws a lot of inspiration from old folk tales.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm familiar with like some of the folk tales he uses in The Lighthouse. And when you know those folk tales, it almost seems like a ripoff. It doesn't seem inspired. It just seems he just took something out of a folk tale or like an old painting and just threw it into this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to the untrained eye, like it feels that it's inspired. But if you know about these old folk tales and like there's like an old painting that he like pretty much shot for shot recreates.
Where he's got the light going into his eyes.
Yeah,
naked
I
guy.
love that painting. I want that print. But
you should get that tattooed on your flesh.
Oh man, that would be cool.
Right across your chest. Right there.
Across my chest. So that I challenged myself because I like always defended this movie. So now looking at it in that sort of lens, it doesn't take away from the movie, but it's glaring how it's not inspired. It's essentially just a ripoff. And I don't mind that because the movie is well done and it's well crafted.
I like your challenge to yourself to try to find fault in a movie that you find blameless.
Yeah. So, I mean, but that on the way here to record, because I was thinking about it, I was thinking to myself, I don't know, that's really nitpicky. Like that is a very nitpicky thing to do.
It's a good sign of a good movie, though.
But I met someone who like majored in like folklore in college one day, and he knew all about it. So I was like, I imagined someone who went to school for that, just watching The Lighthouse and just saying, "Oh, this is just a ripoff of this, that, and the other."
Is it a ripoff if the source material is just written?
Well, I mean, I guess when I say ripoff, I mean it's to be said that it's inspired by these.
Who says that?
What do you mean?
Who says it's inspired by?
The critics. I don't know. Like I've seen it on the internet.
Eggers.
Yeah. Did Eggers say this was inspired by?
I mean, I don't know ad verbatim if he had said that, or verbatim, but it's obvious that he was inspired by it.
Right.
But it seems so very blatant that it. When I think of inspired, I think you know the source material and then you kind of make it your own.
Sure.
When I watched The Lighthouse, it was verbatim of what these tales that he was like pulling out to make this movie. Again, it doesn't change the film for me in any way, but it was obvious that it went over my head after the 50th time I watched it.
Well, I'm going to restore faith in your beloved movie because like 95% of like big budget movies and like popular movies are based off of other things.
Well, I mean, like there's only like 5 stories you can tell, so I mean
that's why they had the adapted screenplay versus original screenplay at the Oscars, you know.
And then I watched that streaming on HBO Max.
How'd you like it?
I mean, still 8+ banger.
Okay.
And then I started watching a very, very morbid documentary last night.
Oh, really?
It's called Black Metal Veins. This is not streaming anywhere.
That sounds cool, though. Cool name.
It is a cool name.
I found it on the dark web.
I didn't find it on the dark web.
Silk Road.
But the website that you can watch it on is called effedupfilms.com.
Effedupfilms.com.
Yeah.
Sounds like a website I'd go to in the high school.
Yeah,
Right.
for real.
And so it's this came out in 2012. I mean it's a tough watch to get through. It's like a pseudo documentary because there's some things that like are fictitious, but it's about a group of heroin addicts who are like black metal fanatics. And the drug use that the documentary guy films is very real. Like their whole lifestyle is very real. Like, you know, they're doing crack, they're shooting up. Some of the like, I could only get halfway through it because it's so depressing.
Really?
Yeah. There's this one girl who she was a crack addict and a heroin addict, and she had a boyfriend.
Crack and heroin.
She had a boyfriend. She has a boyfriend who's in the Navy, and the boyfriend gave her $1,200, and she spent it in like 3 days
on heroin
and crack.
It's a high quality heroin and crack.
And they were doing an interview with her, like in this like really like trap housey apartment, and she's like, yeah, I'm not trying to push the needle into me anymore. I'm just going to try to stick with crack. And I was just like, oh, God, that's someone's daughter. That's someone's daughter.
Yeah.
And like the guys were creeping on her too because she was the only female there. And it's very, very shocking because it's real. That's the reality of like drug addicts and that sort of environment. I had to turn it off though because I was about to go to bed and I was thinking to myself, I don't know if this is the thing I want to watch before I sleep.
I want to do crack.
I do. Well, they have, and it's funny because at the beginning of the documentary, they have a disclaimer saying we're not promoting drug use or anything like that. We're not promoting any of the behavior between these 5 people.
Sure. It's just documenting it.
Yeah. And
it's important to show that.
And I did do a little bit of research on it.
Red asphalt of drugs.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, I did a little bit of research on it as well. The director's name is just ridiculous. Hold on.
Mike Cock.
No, it is Lucifer Valentine.
Okay, that's not a real name.
Lucifer Valentine.
Yeah. That's a fake name.
Yeah, well, I know, but I mean, I thought that was hilarious. Like, it was just some edgy teenager
like
guy.
a
Is a
band
piece
name.
of shit. Actually, well, so that's what I was going to bring up. Is there is a lot of like rumors going around that there was a bunch of abuse behind the scenes inflicted by the director, and that he was
on this documentary.
Yeah, and he was enabling these kids as well.
Oh, he's like pushing.
Here, take
them.
this so I can get the shot.
Yeah, he was like, yeah.
Damn.
But
sounds like that doesn't sound like the Lucifer Valentine that I know.
You're telling me Lucifer Valentine is capable of something like that?
Yeah. But I do plan on finishing it. It's just it's a hard watch because
come on, it's not that bad.
Well,
That's what the director said. Come on, it's not that bad.
Well, go watch it on effedupfilms.com.
Here, take this.
I don't like you.
Take this.
Is it effed up like EFFED, or are you just euphemizing?
No, it's EFFED.
Tyler, find the link for me and text it to me so I can put it in the show notes.
Okay, I will.
So no payoffs for either of our stream picks.
I really wanted to, but I was just so exhausted. I decided
I would put this fucked up documentary on instead.
Well, that was on a whim.
Okay.
I don't know why I did it.
It's been 2 weeks.
I found it on a Letterboxd list, and so I was like, "Oh, this looks interesting. It has black metal, and it's a documentary." I was like, "Oh shit!"
Well, I'm proud of you, Tyler, for watching a new movie last week. A shitty assigned movie, but
I know. I will be going through the list of streaming picks.
It's not like Joseph, or I forced that upon you. You suggested it willingly.
Yeah, I know
that you'd watch our streaming picks.
I know.
Yeah. Well, I'm not giving up on you.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm still doing it.
Well, thank you. Anyways,
so are you gonna watch Blacked Out Veins?
Oh God. I'll watch the Lighthouse.
Black Metal Veins.
But yeah, that's all I have. I mean, like I was watching The Bear too. That show's just phenomenal.
It's good.
Yeah. I think the season 3 is a little bit weaker, but it's still really good regardless. And been keeping up with The Boys, which has been pretty good.
Joe Bridges says that The Bear is the best show on television.
Like
currently?
I mean, currently,
yeah.
Yeah, I would say so. So. But anyways, that's all I got.
Okay.
All right. Cool. Joseph,
all right.
bring us home.
Paying off both of your guys' stream picks.
Yeah. All right.
Starting off high, American Fiction.
Sweet.
Streaming on Prime. I knew it was gonna be pretty good, but I didn't realize that it was gonna be really good.
It's really good.
Yeah.
It's a really good movie.
Yeah, I loved it.
It's a movie that I wouldn't expect to take the amount of turns that it does in the story, especially like in the beginning. I'm like, oh, that's tragic.
It happens very fast.
That's also tragic.
Yeah.
This guy's family is fucked.
Yeah.
And along with like all like kind of the sad and somber stuff that happens to him or around him in the movie, it's blended with like very good humor.
Yeah.
And Joseph Bridges, I think, had a good review on it.
Pandering.
A movie about pandering that is also pandering.
Perfect encapsulation.
Because it's like not even like a negative thing about the movie, I don't think, because there is one scene where American Fiction, we talked about the story already, but the main character played by Jeffrey Wright is in a panel of book critics to select a winner for I don't know, whatever, not Nobel Peace Prize, but some
Peace Prize,
some literary award.
It's some literary award.
Yeah.
And it's him and another black author who she's like a mainstream.
She was the one who
more popular black author.
She was the one who wrote the book that he detests.
Yes.
Do you remember the name of his book, his fictional book? I mean,
it changes to fuck.
I know, but before that, it was another funny name. It was like, me and Tyler.
My Pathology.
Oh yeah, my Pathology. Yeah. Oh my God.
So there's a panel of like 5 people, and they're the only 2 black people on that panel, and the other 3 are white. And they're like ranking the books. There's like 10 nominations, and they're ranking the books on like who should get the award. And the 3 of them choose his book, which he also detests. He wrote as like a parody almost. As like a fuck you to like,
it was like
white audiences and to the and to publishers. And the 3 white people are saying, you know, we should really listen to black voices on this one. And they're ignoring the 2 black voices in the room.
I cringed so hard.
It was like an obvious like line, but it was like really well placed and really well like played for the movie. And Sterling K. Brown's character, kind of like a little bit of a loose cannon for a lot of the movie.
Yeah.
A divorced, gay,
recently out gay man.
Not drug addict, but he's like going down a path
partakes
right now. He gives a really good performance for a little bit that he's in the movie.
Yeah.
And they have good interactions. The beach scene, after the first big turn, when he's giving that speech that was written for him or written to be read for everybody, was a really like emotional. I didn't get flat out like crying or anything like that, but there was definitely like emotional parts in this movie that definitely hit me. But yeah, really, really good. Really, really good movie.
It's great writing.
Yeah. And for a first like debut like feature film for this guy, Cord Jefferson, I think is his name.
Yeah.
Really, really solid. Really good.
Adam Brody also playing a great character.
Yeah, the director. Yeah. I liked what they did with the ending of like the book versus like the movie and the movie within the movie. Yeah.
What's it called? Plantation assassination or something like that?
Yeah, it's like like ghost slaves and coming back to take revenge.
Oh, it's gonna be fucking great. You're gonna love it.
Yeah.
It's super art house.
Yeah. American Fiction streaming on Prime still.
Everyone should watch it. If you haven't seen that, stop what you're doing and watch it.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go in chronological order in which I watched. I watched Saved with an exclamation point, starring Mandy Moore and Jenna Malone. Streaming on Amazon Prime and Tubi TV, and this feels like a faith-based movie that is parodying other faith-based movies while still also appealing to an unfaith-based audience.
Is it like PG or PG-13?
It's like I want to say like almost rated R, but I think it's like PG-13.
Okay.
Because it's almost like they took the character Amanda Bynes' character from Easy A and made like a spin-off movie. And she's not the main character, but she's like the main character's like best frenemy, I guess.
Okay.
And this is it's a funny, cringy movie because all the school is like a Catholic school, and Jenna Malone is in a relationship with this other student, and he confesses to her that he's gay, and in her effort to try and save him, she has sex with him, and then she ends up getting pregnant, which is like in their world, in this world, like it's like the worst thing that could happen. There's a scene where,
God damn, this movie does sound familiar as you're describing.
She's she's like looking up like symptoms of like morning sickness. And she finds out it could also be cancer. So there's this scene where she's riding home on a bike with a pregnancy test. She's like, "Please be cancer, please be cancer, please be cancer."
God.
I actually think I think I've seen this movie before.
There's definitely cringe dialogue in moments, but it was pretty entertaining. It's a pretty entertaining movie. And Michael Stipe produced it.
What
really?
What led you to watch this movie?
It must have been like a weekday, and I was at home, and I was probably like, multitasking, like something like working on my computer, and I just wanted something on. I didn't want to work in silence.
Yeah.
And I know I watched this a long time ago with Deanna, but I didn't remember anything about it.
It sounds really familiar. I think I might have seen it, but same thing. Couldn't tell you much about it.
Came out 20 years ago, 2004.
Damn.
Hell yeah.
And it's a pretty entertaining high school faith-based parody, faith-based movie.
You said that's Tubi?
Tubi and Amazon Prime.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's worth your time, maybe.
Cool.
I watched Valhalla Rising. Mads Mikkelsen, Nicholas Winding Refn directed Viking movie.
Oh, One Eye.
Yeah, One Eye. Mads Mikkelsen playing a mute savage warrior who is essentially like in chains almost the whole movie.
Yeah.
And this is pretty much like if The Northman wasn't an action movie.
Yeah. They took out all the action and left that one fight scene in there.
It's an interesting movie, I guess, that only a style that only I guess Refn could do, and as you can see from his later movies, like Only God Forgives. Like the pace of that movie is very similar. This is a little bit slower. I mean, the whole fog boat scene is just like it's like okay, let's move it on.
It's still going on.
Yeah. But I had never seen it before, and I was curious about it. It definitely has like that indie early 2009
it's indie porn.
Yeah, and it's violent. Streaming on Shudder and Pluto.
Shudder.
Yeah. I don't know if I would watch this again, but I'm glad I did watch it.
I feel the same way.
It's a decent movie.
Mads Mikkelsen in beast mode is pretty cool though.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that.
Following the Mads Mikkelsen trend, I watched a newer movie, Riders of Justice.
Oh, hell yeah.
Danish movie, and they're all speaking in their native tongue of Dane. And this is a solid blend of drama, comedy, and action violence movie. And it's basically, it's like the subject matter in which like the inciting incident happens is really sad.
Yeah, it is.
His wife dies on a train accident that it was caused by a gang or terrorists while he was in the military, while he was deployed. And his daughter is the only survivor. And then also one of the other characters who was like a engineer or something. He was also on the train and had met his daughter while they were on the train before it crashed or blew up or whatever.
Yeah.
This was a solid made movie. Like it didn't feel like a indie movie based on the production quality, but it definitely has like the charm of like an indie foreign movie. And it was good. It was a good.
The dork characters are very fun.
Yeah,
They're
so
super fun.
Marcus is the main character. Deployed military man has to go home to his teenage daughter Mathilde when his wife dies in a tragic train accident, and it seems to be just like a accident, but it turns out that it might have been a carefully orchestrated assassination, which his wife ended up being a random casualty of. So by a byproduct, he is going on a revenge mission against these people who are just not trying to kill his wife, but someone else on the train, and also killed a bunch of other people. And then there's few more twists in that movie that was like kind of shocking.
It was the engineer the whole time.
Like a case of like mistaken identity and stuff like that.
It's like sex slaves.
Yeah. And it was like a comedy, but also sad.
Really dark shit
and
for
also
a comedy.
Very violent.
Yeah.
So it was good though. Streaming on Hulu.
It's a very robust movie. Like there's a lot to the plot that I feel like I could rewatch that movie now and completely forget so many parts about the movie.
I liked one of the characters. He was like basically like he was a bigger guy, and he was like the computer guy, the hacker guy. And there's this one scene where they're setting up shop in the main character's. He has this barn, and they're setting up shop to basically try to like a headquarters that they all meet. And the hacker guy, computer guy, is like complaining about the monitors that he has, and he's like, "These are pussy monitors. I need 4K." There's this whole interaction that he has that's super funny. So that's streaming on, what did I say, Hulu?
Hulu,
yeah. And then speaking of Ridley Scott, I caught up with Napoleon.
Oh no shit!
Yeah, streaming on Apple TV. Boring. Very, very boring.
Bullshit artist.
And from what I understand, historically inaccurate. Which I don't even know if Ridley Scott even gives a fuck.
He does not.
I don't think he cares.
Is one of my favorite interviews with him. Someone was critiquing the battle at the Egypt at the pyramids.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't think that Napoleon really did any of that stuff in Egypt. And he's like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
It's a movie.
I guess they do portray, because Napoleon was like a brilliant like strategist in terms of war and battles. So they do that in the movie and make it look like he's kind of like using his own army as pawns in his overall strategy to defeat the enemy.
Yeah.
But he is, Joaquin is portraying him as very unhinged. But the battle scenes themselves were pretty cool, really pretty well executed, and there was a lot of violence, and the performances were pretty good. It was snooze fest. Yeah.
Who's the female lead? His woman. It's she's from Mission Impossible. She's
Vanessa Kirby.
Yes. She's gorgeous.
Yeah, she's
very like alluring. She has this like enchanting gaze that she has,
She has they have a very tumultuous relationship.
He's a cuck, right?
Yeah. Kind of. She ends up being that, essentially. So that was all right, I guess.
If you want to watch a different version of a brilliant strategist, watch this movie on Hulu called Medieval. It just hit Hulu not too long ago. It's got Ben Foster playing Jan Žižka, who was a Czech warrior who was like responsible for more more deaths, enemy deaths than like any other like lead general in history or some shit like that. And they show all the different like attack strategies, and it's really amazing.
Yeah.
He's basically the inventor of the tank before tanks were around.
Oh,
Nice.
Call them war wagons.
War wagons.
Napoleon, it's streaming on
Napoleon.
Apple TV.
Napoleon.
Cool.
It's only streaming there. And then finally, since we are reviewing Dune, I went back and rewatched Arrival.
Sweet.
Denis Villeneuve's earlier sci-fi movie based on a short story.
Hi, my name is Denis Villeneuve.
This is streaming on Paramount Plus via Apple TV, so it must be streaming on Paramount Plus. Really fucking good movie.
It is. I love that.
Such
movie.
it's one of the most depressing stories.
It's
fucking sad.
What's so depressing about it?
Knowing the trajectory of your life, and then, but not just your life, but other people's lives,
Your daughter's life.
and then the child that you can choose or choose not to have, and them going through what they go through.
You know what? I guess I didn't really focus on that aspect. I more focused on the alien aspect. I was really interested in that.
The first watch, it was more for me about like how intense the alien the main plot was.
Yeah.
And then I was like, ooh, wow, that's crazy with the child, the decision, and what would you do? Blah, blah, blah. The second watch was all about the human aspect of it.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic.
It's a really well made movie. Like Villeneuve's, I haven't seen every single one of his movies. I watched Polytechnique, which was pretty solid, like very early movie, and then obviously the Dune movies, and then Blade Runner. But Arrival is like fucking amazing.
Did he write that movie too?
It's adapted from a book.
Yeah, it's a short story.
That's right. Yeah, I knew that.
And then the music from Johan Johansson, the soundtrack on Arrival, also solid. That's Max Richter.
Max Richter, yeah.
Yeah. Probably one of the best uses of that song.
The song's in a lot of stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, God, it's such a good movie and well edited, well made, just from beginning to end. Really, really good.
There's a YouTuber I like named Thomas Flight or Thomas Light, one of the two.
Thomas Flight. Yeah.
Flight. And he talks about good exposition in movies versus bad exposition in movies. And they talk about, he references this movie a couple of times because when the news broadcast comes that the aliens are there, it's, you don't see the full-on shot. You're watching Amy Adams watch the movie or watch the news, and it's like her in the studio, her face, not the screen, and then her at home drinking the wine, and it's like the movie is. I'm with you. It's one of the it's one of the greatest.
I know. I was blown away when I first saw this movie. I was like, holy. Well, I mean, I've only seen it once, but I was blown away after watching.
I think I think this is only my second time watching it. But yeah, I was very sad when it was over.
It's so sad.
I was very sad. And understanding the decisions in the story more, and like, why did Ian leave? And then like, oh, that's why he left, because he's mad at her for putting him and them through that.
Yeah.
So the real question is, would you still do it?
I mean, I understand Ian's,
would you have the child?
knowing
the demise?
Knowing that they would have to suffer.
Again, I guess it depends on how it affects your personality.
No. That doesn't depend on that.
Yeah,
would you have the child?
It depends on your personality, like how it depends on
your personality.
I'm talking about how it affects you as a person if you had the child, because you don't know if so. Like, I think maybe not, just to see what happens.
Maybe not. You wouldn't do it.
You would not choose to have the child.
Yeah, I would not choose to have the child because I already know based on experience how it's going to be.
Yeah, because you'd see in your memories that never existed yet. Because time is this infinite circle.
Time's a flat circle.
Yeah, exactly. You already experienced all those memories and the death and the trauma and the grief and the...
Yeah, so...
So you would know? You would say no?
Yeah, I would say no. I mean...
See, the problem is, though, you don't have you have the illusion of choice, because in this circle, it's already happened, and it's going to happen again.
And again.
And even though you say to yourself, you're like, I don't think I could do it. It's like the fact that you have the memories for it means that it's already happened, which means it's going to happen anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting, the story of this and the fact that Denis made this movie and it's this story, kind of like similar parallels a little bit to Paul's character in Dune in terms of like seeing potential things. But yeah,
that's interesting because he has that now with that, and I don't know if Blade Runner has any similar trajectory with the like finalized future or like illusion of choice, or
it's more about just being what's human, what makes you human.
I don't think there's much there, but I would be curious to see if any of his other movies have that same kind of idea baked into it, because Nolan has that in a lot of his stuff, like a time twist, time loop aspect, or
something to do with time,
the illusion of time, or the reality of time.
But yeah, so Arrival streaming on Paramount Plus via Apple TV, really good.
Cool. You're gonna make me want to watch it again.
All right. Anything else?
I think that's it.
I think we're good.
Cool.
Yeah, so thank you to all of our cool ass yard duties over on Patreon. That's Javier, Heather Sachs, Ryan, Corbin, and Chris. Thank you to everybody who's in the chat. We got Heather Sachs, Joe Bridges, Angry Otter, and Angie, who joined us today. If you want to join us in the chat and say hello during the stream, add into the conversation, drop in your streaming picks or your additions to the show, come on in every Saturday, 12:30 Pacific time. We're doing it live. So until next time.
Do the proper outro this time.
Thank you for joining us on this return to form, and follow us later on today on the stream or later on in the week as we review Dune Part 1 and 2 combined as one movie. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/MCFC podcast, and send us an email, mcfcpodcast@gmail.com.
And follow us on Instagram at Middle Class Film Class, and leave us a voicemail. Why don't you at 209-730-6010.
Follow us on Twitter at Podcast MCFC and on TikTok at Middle Class Film Class.
All right, we'll see you guys real soon.
See ya.
See ya.
Class dismissed.
I gotta get out of here.
The bell doesn't dismiss you. I dismiss you.
You're free to go.
See you next week.
See you later.
See you later.
That's a wrap.
Great show.